Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the story of one of the most iconic landmarks in the world, the Statue of Liberty. You think you know her, right? Big green lady, holding a torch, welcoming people to America. But what if I told you that her story is packed with secrets, controversies, and a past so wild it sounds like something straight out of a movie? Prepare to have your mind blown, because we're about to uncover the untold story of the Statue of Liberty. Let's start at the very beginning. Most people know the statue was a gift from France to the United States, but why? Well, it was to commemorate the alliance between France and the US during the American Revolution. The idea came from a French law professor and politician named Édouard de la Boulaye. He was a huge admirer of America's abolition of slavery after the Civil War and saw it as a victory for liberty everywhere. He envisioned a monumental gift that would celebrate the shared ideals of freedom and democracy between the two nations. So, in 1865, at a dinner party, La Boulaye proposed the idea. And who was at that dinner party? A young, ambitious sculptor named Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi. The idea immediately captured his imagination. Bartholdi wasn't just any artist. He was a man with a vision for grand, colossal sculptures. He traveled to the United States in 1871 to scout for the perfect location. As he sailed into New York Harbor, he spotted Bedloe's Island and knew instantly this was the spot. He saw his statue as a gateway, a greeter to a new world. Now, here's where the story gets really interesting. The design of the statue itself is full of symbolism. The torch represents enlightenment, lighting the way to freedom. The tablet in her left hand, inscribed with the date of the American Declaration of Independence, July 4, 1776, represents the rule of law. The 7 spikes on her crown symbolize the 7 continents and the 7 seas, indicating the universal concept of liberty. But there's a lesser-known detail at her feet. If you could look closely, you'd see she's not just standing still. She's actually mid-stride, moving forward, with a broken shackle and chain at her feet, symbolizing the end of oppression and, specifically, the abolition of slavery. This crucial detail is often overlooked, but it was central to La Boulay's original vision. However, the design we see today wasn't Bartholdi's first attempt at a colossal female figure. And this is a part of the story that's often left out. Before the Statue of Liberty, Bartholdi had pitched a massive project to Egypt. He designed a gigantic statue of a robed female peasant holding a torch, intended to serve as a lighthouse at the entrance of the Suez Canal. He called it Egypt Carrying the Light to Asia. The project was ambitious and, ultimately, too expensive for the Egyptian government, so they turned him down. Sound familiar? A robed woman, a torch, lighting the way. Bartholdi essentially recycled his rejected Egyptian design and adapted it for his new American project. Liberty Enlightening the World was born from the ashes of Egypt carrying the light to Asia. Now, building this thing was an engineering marvel. Bartholdi knew he couldn't just carve a giant statue out of stone. It would be way too heavy, so he teamed up with the brilliant engineer Gustave Eiffel. Yes, that Eiffel, the one who would later build the Eiffel Tower. Eiffel designed an ingenious internal iron skeleton. This framework would support the statue's thin copper skin, which was hammered into shape using a technique called repousse. The skin is only about 2.4 millimeters thick, about the thickness of 2 pennies. This flexible structure allowed the statue to withstand the strong winds of New York Harbor. It can sway up to 3 inches in the wind, and the torch can sway up to 5 inches. So, France had the statue, but getting it to America was a whole other challenge. The deal was that France would pay for the statue, and America would pay for the pedestal it would stand on. The French raised funds through public fees, entertainment events, and a lottery. The statue was constructed in Paris, and by 1884, it was complete, towering over the Parisian rooftops. But on the other side of the Atlantic, fundraising for the pedestal was going terribly. The American committee was struggling. The project stalled. The statue was literally all dressed up with nowhere to go, sitting in pieces in crates in Paris. This is where a media mogul steps in to save the day. Joseph Pulitzer, the publisher of the New York World newspaper. Seeing the project on the brink of failure, Pulitzer launched a massive fundraising campaign. He printed daily articles shaming the rich for not contributing and appealing to the patriotism of ordinary Americans. He promised to print the name of every single person who donated, no matter how small the amount. The campaign was a phenomenal success. Over 120,000 people donated, most giving less than $1. School children, immigrants, working-class families, they all chipped in. In just 5 months, Pulitzer raised the final $100,000 needed, equivalent to over $2.5 million today. The pedestal was finally built. With the pedestal ready, it was time for Lady Liberty to make her journey. The statue was disassembled into 350 individual pieces and packed into 214 crates. It was shipped across the Atlantic aboard the French frigate Isser. The journey was perilous. The ship nearly sank in a storm. But in June 1885, it arrived safely in New York Harbor to a massive celebration. It then took another 4 months to reassemble the statue on her new pedestal. Finally, on October 28, 1886, the Statue of Liberty was officially dedicated. It was a huge event, with a massive parade in New York City. President Grover Cleveland presided over the ceremony. But here's a shocking fact: the dedication was an all-male event. The only women officially allowed on the island for the ceremony were Bartholdi's wife and the French committee chairman's granddaughter. Suffragists were so outraged that they chartered their own boat and circled the island, protesting for their own liberty. It is a powerful irony. A giant female figure symbolizing freedom was unveiled at a ceremony that excluded the very women fighting for their right to vote. And what about her famous color? When the statue was first erected, she wasn't green. She was a shiny, reddish-brown, like a new penny. The green color we see today is the result of a natural weathering process called patination. Over about 30 years, the copper skin reacted with the air and water, forming a protective green layer, or patina. This patina actually protects the underlying copper from further corrosion. There have been several proposals over the years to clean her and restore her original copper color, but experts and the public have always resisted. The green has become just as iconic as the statue itself. Another little-known secret lies in her torch. The original torch, designed by Bartholdi, was made of copper with amber glass panes. But it was a terrible lighthouse. It was too dim to be seen from sea. In 1916, it was redesigned with 600 panes of yellow glass and powerful new lights. But this new design caused major problems. Rainwater leaked through the windows, severely corroding the arm and shoulder. During World War I, on July 30, 1916, German saboteurs blew up a munitions depot on nearby Black Tom Island. The explosion was so powerful it was felt as far away as Philadelphia. The Statue of Liberty was showered with shrapnel, causing significant damage, especially to the torch and arm. Public access to the torch has been closed ever since that day, mainly due to the damage and safety concerns. In the 1980s, during a major restoration project, the old, corroded torch was replaced entirely with a new one. The new flame is covered in 24-karat gold leaf, and it's lit by external floodlights. The original torch, you can see it today in the Statue of Liberty Museum. For millions of immigrants who sailed into New York Harbor in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the Statue of Liberty wasn't just a statue. It was the first thing they saw of America. It was a symbol of hope, a promise of a new life free from the poverty and persecution they were fleeing. The famous poem inscribed on a plaque inside the pedestal, The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus, with its iconic lines, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free," wasn't part of the original statue. It was added in 1903, but it perfectly captured the statue's new meaning as a beacon of hope for immigrants. So, the next time you see a picture of the Statue of Liberty, remember her incredible, complicated story. She's a recycled design from Egypt, saved from failure by a newspaper publisher, a symbol of abolition, an icon for suffragists, a survivor of a wartime bombing, and a beacon of hope for millions. She's not just a statue, she's a testament to engineering, perseverance, and the ever-evolving meaning of freedom. Her story is America's story, full of triumphs, struggles, and hidden complexities. What part of her story surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more untold stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.